Good evening. I hereby convene the Westchester Township Trustee meeting, February 12, 2013. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Present.
Mrs. Stoker?
Here.
Mr. Lang?
Here.
Please arise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, citizen comment. We have no one sign up. Let's move on to action item. Item A, motion to approve 2013 operational budget work session minutes, January 15, 2013.
Also move.
I'll second for the purpose of discussion. I didn't get those minutes till today because there was a problem in delivery. I assume you guys were all in the same boat.
Yes.
I would recommend we put that on hold until our next meeting. And also, I didn't get Kathy's comments that she sent out, so she sent them out on Sunday until today. So if we can put both of those off until our next meeting.
Item A and B?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just as one item, though, in the January 22nd, on the last page, there's a couple of misspelled words that maybe the fiscal officer could go ahead and fix.
They're fixed.
They're fixed?
I think they got fixed even before I sent those out.
Not online here. It only has an apostrophe when it's a contraction for it is, and the apostrophe is always before the S, and I don't think that's fixed yet, so you might want to look at that.
Little typo.
I do have a comment on January 22nd, 2013 minutes. I reviewed the tape and also the minutes. You're right that what I said, but I misunderstood what your request was in respect to regarding your request to make comments during the trustee meeting regarding the minutes. And I looked the tape over and I realized that there was not a consensus, and that I think I'd like to keep it in the old ways as you contribute your input as requested by the trustee.
You're changing your mind, and that's your prerogative.
So
I didn't think he was changing his mind. I think he was saying he was misunderstood. I don't think he's changing his mind.
No, it was pretty well understood. Of course, the hazard is when there's an assumption that you already know what I have to contribute. And if that's not the case, then you'll never know it unless I'm given the opportunity to contribute of my own volition. So you may want to just give that some thought. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, motion to entertain a motion to for payment of bills.
Also move.
I'll second it.
Discussion. Roll call, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyko, requisitions greater than $2,500.
Item 1 is to Peck, Schaefer & Williams, LLP, in the amount of $4,000 to calculate arbitrage rebate and file required reports pursuant to IRS regulations. The Internal Revenue Service requires an issuer of tax-exempt bonds to calculate and to file arbitrage rebate calculations every 5 years on tax-exempt bonds, up until the time when those funds are completely expended. We did this practice last year with 2007 bonds and various purpose and various bonds, and so now it is time to do the 2008 rebate calculations. And this expenditure does include for Peck, Schaefer & Williams to do the work and then also to file the appropriate paperwork with the IRS. Item 2 is services in the amount of $3,750 to Univar USA Incorporated. This is to purchase calcium chloride to replenish our supply to not only finish out this season, but also begin the 2013-2014 winter season.
Okay. I will entertain a motion for item 1 and 2.
Also move.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyko, a personnel item.
Since 2004, when the Township with trustees created the position of the on-call snowplow operator, you approved a complement and allowed staff to hire because of its transitory need to fill these positions during the immediacy. We filled a complement to hire 13 this winter season. Two on-call snowplow operators were hired on January 28th, 2013. This is the very next meeting where we could bring this to your use. These are actually being hired, even though you may think that the winter season for 2013 could be ending. These were actually hired on January 28th, 2013, and were actually utilized during the first week of February when we had those snows on the Thursday evening and then also over that same weekend. So motion to hire 2 on-call snowplow operators on an as-needed basis for the 2012-2013 winter season, Michael Amshoff and Robert Gerton, effective January 28th, 2013 at the hourly rate of $15. And I just want to ensure that the board knows that, of course, these particular contractors did pass all of our requirements and did meet all of our testing and requirements for the position before they were utilized.
Okay. I will entertain motion for item 3.
Also moved.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Ms. Boyko, business items.
This is a license agreement between Westchester Township and the Union Center Boulevard Merchant Association to conduct the Shamrock Shuffle. This is going to be the 7th year for that community block party and also run, and it's grown exponentially each year. It's a very, and in the runner's world, it's a very satisfying run in terms of preparation for some longer runs. So this approval to this license agreement between the Township and Union Center Boulevard Merchants Association for the use of portion of Township property, 9285 Center Point Drive, which is the square, for the production and presentation of the Shamrock Shuffle 5K, 10K walk, run, and block party for Saturday, March 9th from 7 to 11 a.m., and authorize the Township Administrator to execute said agreement.
Right. I entertain a motion for item 4.
Also moved.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 5.
Item 5, Chief Guller is requesting the board's consideration to apply for the 2013-2014 Ohio EMS and Trauma Grant. There is no local match to this grant, and it could be awarded up to $6,000. And in 2012, we were awarded $4,500, and in 2011, $2,500. If authorized to apply for this grant, and if awarded, we would utilize these proceeds for carbon monoxide monitors for the EMS airway bags. And also the motion reads that not only to authorize the fire department to apply for the grant, but if awarded, to authorize the administrator to accept the grant.
Okay. I will entertain a motion for item 5.
Also moved.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 6.
Item 6, although one agenda item, there are 2 separate motions the board should consider. One is to appoint a regular member of the Board of Zoning Appeals. You notice that term is a 5-year term, March 1st, 2013 through February 28th, 2018. And also a separate motion to appoint an alternate member of the Westchester Township Board of Zoning Appeals. That term is a 3-year term, March 1st, 2013 through February 28th, 2016.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to appoint one regular member for
Okay.
BZA.
I'm sorry, excuse me, point of order. Regarding the alternate member, I believe it is a 5-year term, but we are fulfilling the position in terms of a vacancy that someone left.
I see.
So they're both 5-year terms.
Yes, and this is just filling the vacancy.
Okay. First, I will take the appointment. Any nomination?
As usual, we had a number of fine people interview for the positions. I would like to, at this time, nominate Larry Whitehead to continue as our regular member of the board for a 5-year term.
I'll second it.
I'll do a motion.
We need a,
She just
We have
made
a
a motion. I
Okay.
seconded it.
do we have a
Second.
discussion?
Discussion? I think we all have great candidates applying this year. But, Larry's been on it for a while and done a good job. Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
I'd like to then also nominate that we reappoint Mr. Richard Lenz as alternate. I think he's done a fine job and shows a lot of enthusiasm for the responsibility.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong,
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker,
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Item 7, Ms. Michael.
Again, point of order, Mr. President. I apologize again for giving you misinformation. Just want to clarify that the Board of Zoning Appeal member, the alternate member, is a 3-year term. So this is...
Thank you.
yes,
Can
this is
I
a 3
amend my motion then to refer to a 3-year term? Would you like to amend your
I'll amend
second?
my second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong,
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker,
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Item 7.
My apologies, thank you. Item 7 is motion not to object to liquor permit transfer from Willie's Wings LLC to Willie's North LLC, doing business as Willie's Sports Cafe, 8188 Princeton Glendale Road. My understanding is that there was new ownership.
Okay. Entertain a motion for item 7. Not to object.
I'll make the motion that we not object.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong,
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker,
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Okay, we have no first reading. Citizens' comments. Sir Roman, please state your name and address.
Good evening, I'm Carl Woolman at 8285 Vental Drive in beautiful uptown Westchester, the area without sidewalks. That's irrelevant to what I'm going to say. I'd just like to seriously inquire who has the authority to spend or commit township funds outside of the trustees in informal meetings. So is there people who are authorized to commit funds outside of formal trustee meetings? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you. Ms. Boyko, discussion items and trustee comments.
Would you like to address Mr. Williams?
Yes,
It's a pleasure of the board.
sure. Please.
The township's practices have been, and I believe there was a resolution prior to the current fiscal officer, that the township administrator's expenditure limit is anything $2,500 or less can be expended, and then anything $750 or less can be expended by the department directors.
Okay, thank you.
There are also regular expenditures we do, like payroll, utilities, et cetera.
Sure, those are
which,
considered-
under terms of contracts that we have with these different
Yes.
entities,
So anything 2,500 and above that's not regular has to...
comes to us.
And anything greater than $2,500.
Pardon me?
Anything greater than $2,500. Yeah. $25 or below is,
Got it.
sorry.
$2,500 and 1 penny.
Yes, it's yours. I have just a very brief discussion item. One may think, well, why is the governor's budget impactful and important to Westchester Township? But I just want to be able to share with you that there are some potentialities that may be. And I want to provide a very general assessment of Governor Kasich's fiscal year 2014 and 2015 biennium budget, which was released last week. This is only a preliminary review, and this is only a preliminary presentation because obviously it's hundreds and hundreds of pages, and I have yet not deciphered all of them. But I'm only going to the focus of what I think is most impactful to the township. And, of course, changes are and potentially inevitable because the General Assembly has not yet reacted, reviewed, or deliberated on this proposed budget, and certainly there will be some inevitable changes, I'm for sure. So I wanted to focus mostly on the township's revenue sources and operations, and we still need to evaluate it, like I said, against an approved budget. The Governor's Ohio's jobs budget, which he's terming 2.0, addresses many other funding mechanisms and programs, including local school districts, higher education, Medicaid, and transportation issues, but I want to focus on his tax reform portion. The state of Ohio has transitioned, or has either methodically or just by the nature of the service industry, has transitioned from a product and manufactured-based type of industry economy to a services-related industry, and I think that's indicative of the national scene as well. And regardless of one's position on the sustainability of a service-based economy, I wanted to focus on the governor proposes to reform Ohio's tax structure to reduce taxes on small businesses income and state sales tax to stimulate Ohio's economy and create jobs. The governor's budget decreases taxes on sources of revenue not directly affecting Westchester's local government. We do not collect an income tax, obviously. We do not collect a state income tax, so that's not going to be any kind of impact to Westchester Township. We do not collect state sales tax, so that's, of course, not going to be an impact directly to Westchester Township. But both of those revenue sources combined contribute to the state's general revenue fund, which is the source of the local government fund distribution. So again, I might be making leaps or I might be making bounds that are not yet directly determined or not yet directly calculated based on the governor's proposed budget, but yet we are always looking for landmines and always looking for, especially when it comes to our revenue and sources of revenue, looking for these landmines of what potentially could, let's monitor this. And so the fact that there would be a reduction in the state income tax and a reduction in the state sales tax from 5.5% to 5%. Again, those two combine are revenue sources for the state's general revenue fund, which is a source for the local government distribution to cities, counties, and townships. So we will continue to monitor that not only through the proposed budget from proposal to approval, but also do some calculations and can see if there is really going to be any impact to that reduction. Now, the state sales tax, although the governor's tax reform in his budget reduces the state sales tax, he is proposing that the sales tax be applied more broadly and universally to other services that currently are not taxed for sales. And so, again, what will the math equal? A reduction, will it equal less than or greater than or be equal to the actual, by more universally applying that sales tax? So we will continue to monitor that. But nonetheless, in 2013, the township, even though the local government fund was pledged at a certain amount, we have factored a reduction in the 2013 amount, even from what the state has issued for 2013. The last point I wanted to make is, again, as I mentioned, there are several services that will be proposed to be taxed through the state sales tax that aren't currently taxed. And one of those that I think we need to be mindful of is the broader application of that state sales tax to services and transactions that are not previously taxed. Depending on the principle of quantity demanded, the number of consumers relative to the price and the substitutes in the market, the township may see an impact to our cable franchise fees. Currently, cable franchise fees are not charged a sales tax. The proposal is that cable franchise fees be subject to a sales tax. The whole quantity of demand is, will we lose consumers in our current cable franchise market because they don't want to pay the sales tax, and they'll go to, what are the substitutes in the market being?
Netflix.
Yes, there's a lot of internet-based programming that's out there that you can get cable programming, but you get it through the internet as opposed to through a cable fiber optic line. And so we're going to have to continue to monitor that. Number one, will cable franchise be subject to sales tax? And number two, watch those revenues to determine that will the demand, consumers' demand, go down because of the substitutes that are out there. And so we'll continue to monitor that. And I just wanted to tweak your interest, let you know that we're on this, we're reviewing it, and there'll be a whole lot more review with the finance director and information technology director and myself as we kind of mine this document.
Thank you.
All right. Next, trustee comments. George, do you have anything?
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to wish Abraham Lincoln a happy birthday. Today is his birthday. And if I'm right, Mr. Wong, 2 days ago was the Chinese New Year.
That's right.
So Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
And as it relates to the governor's budget, at the risk of violating Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment, I'd like to say how disappointed I am in the proposed budget that the government has put forward. You know, in his last budget, they balanced the budget for the first time in a long time, but they did it on the backs of the local government fund. They didn't really reduce the cost and complexity of the general revenue fund. The general revenue fund, if this current budget is passed, is going to grow 26.4% over this 4-year period. That's 6.1% a year. That's significantly higher than the rate of inflation. And by reducing the budget on the backs of local government, all he's done is shifted the tax burden from the state to the local level. You're going to see more and more levies on a statewide basis as the pressure is going to be put on local people to pass levies. And unfortunately, because of the state of the economy, a lot of these levies are not going to be passed. And you will see service levels suffer at the local level. And I'm frustrated because I was one of the very few elected officials that lobbied our state senator and representative at the time, saying, I support the reduction in local government fund. I support it, but do it coincident or commensurate with a reduction in the size and scope and cost of the state government. And that has not happened, and I just kind of see a shell game being played as we continue to grow government at the state level.
Yeah, one of the things I was thinking of as I was reading through the long explanation in the newspapers of the proposed, and I think we need to remember this is what's been proposed. It hasn't been, as Mrs. Boyko says, hasn't been voted on yet.
Okay.
Was what you, Mr. Lang, like to talk about unintended consequences. It's always been my philosophy that one of the most important things we can do is to look down the road 10, 20 years to make a determination of, are we going in the right direction that we think is appropriate for the township? If we're not, if we're getting off course, we can make small adjustments to make sure we get on course. What we've done, it looks to me here, is make a great many huge sweeping changes with little, I think, real thought put into how are they going to be implemented and what effect are they going to have. I am fully expecting over the next few weeks to see strong, influential special interests getting up and saying, hey, you can't tax my services. You'll destroy my particular, spot in the market or the economy. I just, like I say, I think he's just begging for heartache and unintended consequences, painful whacks at who knows what parts of the economy. These things you don't find out until later. I just think it's kind of ill-advised. And as Mrs. Boyko says, the only thing we can do as lowly trustees is to kind of hunker down, conserve our resources, make sure we're taking care of our what I call essential services, and you speak of as core competencies, and wait while the big guys up in Columbus duke it out, and hope that we don't get bloodied up too much in the with the gunfire going off, because I think there's going to be a great deal of weeping and gnashing and beating of breasts up in Columbus while this all works its way through the process.
I would agree with everything you said. That's been a while.
Wow.
It's a big one, Elizabeth.
We have no executive session tonight. Well, I made a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Also move.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.
You'll be able to make it to the EMA.